connecting different aspects of our center to
We are gathered here to chart a course toward a unifying purpose, building our future together. What future do we seek? A world that is peaceful and prosperous, one we, the global community, will build. As my favorite saying goes, only with peace can people build. The absence of peace breeds destruction. Therefore, I urge all of you, Your Excellencies, to recognize that our journey together must begin with fostering world peace, realizing the sustainable development goals, and upholding the core principles of the United Nations Charter. Building our future stands for shared responsibility, equity, and inclusion.
As we look ahead, I offer 5 guiding principles to shape how we must build the future together. Firstly, peace must remain our foundation. In a world marked by division, extremism, and war, we must renew our commitments to dialogue over destruction, diplomacy over domination, and peace is not merely the absence of war, it is the presence of justice, equality, and opportunity within nations, institutions, communities, and hearts. Equity and inclusion must define our progress. We cannot build a future on the backs of the excluded. Women, youth, indigenous peoples, persons with disabilities, and other marginalized communities must be at the center of everything we do.
Yet, we must speak the truth and do it with humility. Challenges still confront us. Our world is under strain. Conflict multiplies. Inequalities deepen. The planet warms. Technology races ahead of ethics. And the fragile thread that binds nation is being tested by everywhere. But the UN is not running from those challenges. It's taking bold steps to reform, to adapt, and to renew. That spirit drives the UN at 80 initiative, making our organization faster, more inclusive, and ready for the century ahead. At the global stage, member states last year adopted the Pact for the Future, a bold declaration that our shared humanity is stronger than our shared fear. The Pact called on each of the following five areas: sustainable development, peace and security, digital cooperation, youth and future generation, and reform of the global institution. And it calls also to accelerate the achievement of sustainable development goal through what we call the 6th transition pathway, with a food system that feeds people, energy, digital connectivity, education, social protection, and climate action.
If the UN did not exist, we would have nothing approximating a global governance structure. So the UN holds all of us together because it provides a platform for robust engagement and debate and disagreements, but it also enjoins all of us to say that it is in consensus building that we have our strengths. So global governance is built on the strengths of togetherness. And here, I'd like to tell all of us that there is an African dimension to what the UN is doing. Because in Africa, Ubuntu, meaning you are because I am, and I am because you are, is a foundation of the moral values that define Africa's contribution to global politics and global harmony. And the world has seen in Africa the fact that partnership, collaboration, those kinds of things that the UN is pushing for are the things that will help all of us. What does this mean? In practice, it means in non-kinetic terms. We have the MDGs and the SDGs. We have the Agenda for Peace and the new Agenda for Peace. All of them saying the same thing, that where there is poverty anywhere in the world is at risk. Where there is war anywhere in the world is at risk. Think of it.
The UN we want. The UN we want must be that is smarter, more networked, more responsive to the needs of the people and the planet. The UN that we want is one that reform is not an option. It is a necessity and a desiderata. The UN that we want is one that must strengthen global cooperation, modernize UN and advance UN institutions, reimagine governance for the realities of today and interconnected world.
Nigeria, from the streets of Jos to Barkinladi in Plateau State, from the streets of Kinowa village in Oza in Borno State, from Afghanistan to Gaza to Syria, we have witnessed how local actors embody the true spirit of United Nations by working quietly to prevent violence and build peace. Dear friends and esteemed colleagues, the United Nations that I want to see and we want to see should listen more to the local voices and strengthen the bridges between global policy and local community realities.
We celebrate the United Nations because just recently it adopted what it called a Pact for the Future. And that Pact for the Future appears to speak to what human rights community in Nigeria hopes for. First is increasing the voices of developing countries in global governance, not just at the United Nations Security Council, but also at international financial institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund.
I'm talking about